All right, and welcome back to Wrestling Pops. It is me, Michael. Oh, say, can you see? It is the 4th of July as of this recording, and I am so happy to be back. So happy to be still on summer vacation. That is also super nice. But a little 4th of July episode here. So if you're watching in the future, this is when this was recorded. Today, talk about a few different things, a couple different things, not a few. But just want to give you a shout out. Say once again, thank you for listening. If you listen to on Spotify, you can check this podcast out there. If you're driving to work, you're driving, in your car, and you want to listen to a wrestling podcast, boom, there you go. You could also, if you don't have Spotify, you can listen to it on Audible, Amazon, and I believe Google podcast has it as well, though they are a little bit more tricky to find it. I will say Audible and Spotify, it's a little bit better. Still working on Apple. There's a kink in the system. It's really easy to put it on there, but for whatever reason, my feed is not getting there. But oh well. Hey, if you're listening to this, you found it anyway. So good for you. Good for you. It's actually I don't know if it is good for you. It's more good for me. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, that is the podcast thing. You could also check out the video. The video is on YouTube for this one. Only one episode is not on YouTube. And that was because I was on vacation, just didn't have time to edit it together. So, also want to give a shout out to the Deep Culture guys. Once again, go back and watch previous videos if you haven't. There's some good stuff on there that I think you'll enjoy. But enough of that. It is the 4th of July. I'd like to talk very quickly about a little bit of my favorite patriotic wrestlers. So, when I think of America, when I think of the United States, I think of these people. Okay, so no particular order. No particular order. Actually, you know what? I will go from the best, the most patriotic to the worst, because it starts off really solid and then it gets a little goofy. So, right off the bat, my most patriotic wrestlers, and if you have any ideas of who should be in this list, who's missing, please shout them out in the comments. That would be greatly appreciated. Patriotic wrestlers, American, like when you think of like, oh, USA, there's a few people that come to mind right off the bat. And I think the one for me, Kurt Angle. I mean, that's his whole thing. He's the American hero. Won an Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck. His gear always red, white, and blue. Wearing the medals, I think when you think of patriotic, you think of American themed wrestlers. I think Kurt Angle has to be near the top of the list. Maybe over time, the red, white, and blue was always a part of his look. But over time, that wasn't always just his character. Still, I don't think you can I don't think you can have a patriotic wrestlers list without Kurt Angle on it. So Kurt Angle, he has to be on my most patriotic wrestlers list. Even if always sometimes he was, didn't act that way. So another one, and I guess maybe you can lump this guy in with someone else, but another one, Mr. America. It's in the name. You have to have Mr. America on your top patriotic wrestlers list. And other than just the name, man, there's boots. There's Mr. America boots. I guess you can kind of, if you want to put Hulk Hogan here, though it's not confirmed, that was Hulk Hogan. You could put Hulk Hogan here for the theme song as well. So Hulk Hogan / Mr. America, every gimmick seemingly, other than the Hollywood Hulk Hogan gimmick, I mean, he was the American dude, say your prayers, eat your vitamins. I'm a real American, always flying the flag, the red, white, and blue, playing the guitar, and then the Mr. America gimmick just finishing it off. Really funny. The Mr. America stuff, I do not have that action figure, but I like when I collect action figures or things, I like the holiday editions of action figures, but also like the patriotic stuff as well. So if a wrestler or an action figure, has the all red, white, and blue, or maybe it's a different country as well. I always think that's just really cool. So, um, Mr. America, that figure, I need to get that one to go with my red, white, and blue Ultimate Warrior. Um, so Hulk Hogan, Mr. America, there you go. Number three. Number three. I'm trying to. I have the list on. Uh, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The Hacksaw. Really just he always carried a flag. Like he always carried the flag, except for that time he renounced America and he was Canadian for a little bit. Um, I don't think you can have a list like this without Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So, um, yeah, carrying around that 2x4, he's just full on American. Another guy, Sergeant Slaughter. Now I will say he maybe loses points because he actually called out an actual vet and Lacey Evans. So you know what? Maybe Lacey Evans goes on this list because she actually served the country. But that gimmick, when you think of like American wrestlers, like the sergeant, um, yeah, I think that gimmick goes up there. And my last but not least pick, you cannot diminish this. This guy just bleeds red, white, and blue. Kane. You might be like, what, Kane? Yeah, we'll keep the political thoughts and the political ideologies out of this. But I always thought it was funny, and WWE still does this, and I guess wrestlers do this from time to time. I'm thinking back to the Un-Americans, the Test and the Christian. They're threatening to burn the flag, and boom, who's going to be the American hero who comes out of nowhere to save the day, to not let this happen? Well, it's got to be Kane. Kane just all of a sudden, he loves fire, but he loves his country, and I can respect that. I get a huge kick out of that. Just like, oh my gosh, all those guys in the back, no one's gonna stop that. Well, it's gonna be Kane. Kane's gonna stop that. So, there are my that's my list of patriotic wrestlers. Some more serious, some more goofy. But if there's anybody missing, if there's anybody you think of more for like the patriotism gimmick, you could throw even someone in there like the American Dream. You could throw Dusty Rhodes in there. Um, Whoever it may be, let me know in the comments. Shout me out somewhere. Be like, hey, this random dude, he had the stupidest list of all time, or the best list. Maybe I had the best list of all time. Wouldn't that be something? But yeah, just give me a shout out. Let me know what you think. So that's first part of the episode. Second part of the episode, just kind of be more timely. I did this with WWE 2K23, but just want to kind of give a rundown of AEW Fight Forever. And my thoughts on it, how the game plays. I will say I've probably played about 4 hours at this point. I'm not like full in. I haven't played the career mode, the Road to the Elite. I haven't created someone yet. I've just been trying to get the basics of it. Because ultimately, I think when you're thinking of playability later on, the career mode is a big part of it. I was looking at the trophies. They want you to, if you want to get the trophies, if you're a trophy hunter, or the achievements, you got to play that career mode multiple times. But gameplay, I think you hear reviews of it, you see people complain about it, and I think we've been conditioned for a while to think that 2K and the WWE games are like the end all be all. Every game has to be this way. And AEW's game, it took a long time to get out. There were a lot of people. There's a lot of eyes on it because it was announced. It was one of the first things announced, I think, with the company. Hey, there's going to be a video game, and it's taking this long to get there. So you're going to have people nitpick it, and with the graphics coming out, that's a huge part of gaming now. Is the graphics have to be almost like super realistic, and with me, I like this game right off, right off the bat. I want to say that AEW's game checked one of the things that it needed to. It needed to separate itself. It needed to be a little bit different. WWE's gaming style is simulation, and it's the creation suite, and it is. Yeah, you want to win. You could play online. You could be competitive there, but for me, I've never played a 2K game and wanted to be competitive. I wanted to create things, and I've wanted to do everything in a match I can. But ultimately, after I've done all that stuff, what is the playability? There's universe mode, which is the playground mode, and you can create new things and make your own storylines. That's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like that, but it's always been there. The showcase modes. That's a really cool thing. You unlock stuff. You go back and play the moments in the character's history. That's cool. The career mode. I think 2K23 was great this year with their career modes. But again, if you want people to keep playing the game, what next? Once you go through those things, um, how does that go? For me, WWE is a great game, and I don't want to diminish that. But I think AEW's game, again, separating itself, it's a game that, okay, you want to do all the moves you can. You want to win. Like the goal is to win the match, and not just to put on there are star ratings in the match and all that stuff like there are with the WWE game, and uh but you want to win. And I think the key thing is, and this sets up for, is competitive play online, which is huge. I think if the AEW game continues adding stuff, works out some of the kinks, if you can get people to stay online and play online and make it competitive, I think that is huge, and it sets it apart from the WWE games, where again the WWE is a simulation. It's like, hey, I want to put on a really cool match. I want to jump off that's awesome. All that stuff's cool. AEW is a game you want to win. Like it's an arcade game. The moves are cool. The graphics aren't exactly realistic, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be, and it's honestly refreshing to see that. It's refreshing to see that, is to see them try something new. The entrances, I really, when that got put out there, I was like, oh my gosh, they didn't even do full entrances. That was kind of a letdown. I've played it a few times. I actually like the short entrances now that I think about it, because after you see it a few times, you skip them. You skip through those entrances. So when you're playing the match, you have people coming out. Boom, you set off the pyro. You can change the cameras. It's really interesting how that's done. I'm a fan of that as well. It speeds it up again if you're trying to win. The point is to try to win. You're not there for just the simulation. Um, you're there to try to get better at this game, to improve and unlock stuff, which is cool. The system, I will say, some of the move sets a little repetitive, a little clunky. I like the reversal system. I think it's a little more challenging. Which again, if you're doing competitive play, to get better at that gameplay system and to learn it and master it, I think that is key, though, even though it's a little more difficult and some people are complaining. I've seen that online. Some people complaining about the gameplay and reversals being challenging. I think that's a key. Um, it's different. Yeah, I don't need a prompt every time there's the tutorials in AEW like there are in other games, but like I don't need every single time there's a chance for a reversal. Oh, there's a button. Which you could turn those off in WWE. But AEW, like, okay, other than the signature and finisher, there's really no prompts for that. I like that taunting has a purpose as well. There's a reason for taunting, like, and that almost makes it feel realistic. Like, okay, you taunt, boom, you can hit your signature or your finisher. Some of the signatures and finishers are a little difficult to hit, I will say. Um, but still, I think they're going to work out things, and I think things are, as you play it too, you get better at it. It gets easier. Um, so far, I cannot say enough good things. I've played through a few matches, and the casino battle royale I just played through. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Have a few suits go through. That was enjoyable. That game mode. the death match, the barbed wire death match. That was a lot of fun. It took me a few minutes to that was like the second game I've ever played. So I maneuvering and trying to put people through the barbed wire. That was a little difficult at first, but I got there. Ladder match, played through the ladder match. They have some good game modes. I will say I'm hoping in future games or future updates maybe um, they add more stuff when it comes to that. More attires. They're definitely going to add more people throughout, and hopefully it's not all just like I'm sure it will be. It'll be all season pass, but and I'll talk about that in a second. It'll all be season pass or DLC that you have to pay for. That's fine as long as it's not like overly expensive. That'll be cool. I like the core group of people they have in the game. I think when the company was announced, when you look at those people, those were the people that were there that are needed, that are necessary. Um, I like that the core group. I like that you had to unlock Cody. You know, like he wasn't a DLC, but you had to unlock him because he obviously isn't in the company anymore. But also, he was a big part of the company. You can unlock Aubrey. People were complaining about buying or having to pay and download for FTR and Matt Hardy, which again, those guys are a main staple of the company when you think of major moments. However, from a business sense, that's pretty smart because, like me, it bothers me. It absolutely bothers me that someone who's on TV every week is not in the game. So who are you going to pay for? You're going to pay for those guys, whereas some of those other people probably wouldn't pay for. So even though you might not like it, it's probably smarter that you made them DLC because hey, if you want to play as the tag champs, you want to play as the current tag champs, well, you gotta buy them, you gotta download them. So excited for that. I've been going through looking at the shop anytime I win a match. I like the shop system idea. They had that in the general manager game, but that was a little the general manager game was a little more rough around the edges and paying for things. Didn't always see the benefit. This one is like, hey, I want to create a person. Well, I have these entrance things I could do. These attires like the Young Bucks alternate attires and all those stuff. And now there's a purpose behind it to do better in matches, to reach the challenges, to get the cash so you can unlock the most you can. Really, again, my only worry about this game, my only worry about this game is if new stuff isn't added over time and if the online like portion of it kind of drops off. I think that's where you'll see people really start to crap on the game because I think the big key is that online portion. I'm really excited for Stadium Stampede. I really think that's going to be like a cool part. That's going to be something that's just going to add to the playability of the game. Um, a lot of these guys have never been in a video game before. Like that in itself is cool. So to have that, if you can capitalize on that online, if you can weed out some of the bad stuff, I think the AEW game is going to be so good. I think it is going to be so good. I think it has a potential right now. And I mentioned this in like a short or a TikTok or something. Like video games, everything always has to be pretty. It's unoriginal. And you could say maybe even this game isn't completely original with the callbacks to like No Mercy and some of those old WWE games. However, like I don't need every game to be the same. I'm glad this AEW game is completely different than the WWE games. Because if it was exactly the same, what's the point? Like you can download like created content of a lot of the AEW guys, just put them in the WWE game. Like I don't need that. I needed something different. I'm glad Fight Forever is trying to be different. Is it perfect? No, it isn't. And I'm sure as I play, there might be more things that pop up that I'm like, wow, I wish they'd fix that. But just my first impressions, I really am excited about this game. I really hope it takes off. I really hope Stadium Stampede, that mode, which Kenny, he confirmed, I believe, today. Um, I hope that takes off, takes the game to a new height. Um, I'm just really excited about it. And this is also coming at a pretty cool time for the company as well. So hopefully it continues to grow, especially with All In coming up, All Out. This is like the best time for AEW. So really, really excited. Really, really excited about this game. And I hope that it gets the appreciation over time. I know there were some bad reviews or some so things, like it's cool, but there's some things to work out. I hope over time, um, there, like I said, there's some appreciation that grows for it. So anyway, talking about the patriotic wrestlers, talking about AEW Fight Forever. I want to talk about one thing WWE to end, and that was a decision at Money in the Bank. That was a decision at Money in the Bank. It's not Damian Priest. I think Priest winning, and someone mentioned this as well. LA Knight is doing so well right now, and he's so over, and it would have been cool for him to win. However, Priest has been like continuously like solid, and he's someone who is deserving of that spot. So I really hope that doesn't. I hope the LA Knight not winning doesn't blow back against Priest, because he also deserves it. But that's not what I was talking about. The one thing I wanted to mention, Roman Reigns being pinned. I don't know about that. That part of the allure, like the aura, part of the specialness of his title reign is the fact that he has not been pinned. He's lost in like tag matches and things like that, but he has not been pinned in that long. Like 2020 was the last time. And with the Usos, with Jay pinning him, I get the story that makes Jay seem, I don't know. It helps Jay. I think it kind of lessens Roman a little bit, but not enough. What it really hurts is if Cody does win later on, or whoever does win the title. I think that diminishes it just a little bit, because you're like, oh, well, Roman has been pinned. He looks vulnerable. And I get it. It's like, well, he's vulnerable. Well, I don't know. Like, if Roman was still clean, hasn't been pinned, and he goes into WrestleMania and he loses, that makes it just that much more special to whoever beats him. It's just like that much bigger of a deal. So I thought that was a little questionable. Again, you could have had Roman and Solo, but they're trying to build up Solo too. So, I mean, you can't have him eating all the pins now that the Usos are out of the bloodline. But I don't know. That was a questionable decision. I trust their gut. I think WWE is doing a much better job of forward thinking. Like, okay, what we do now, how's it going to be affected later? I think that's Triple H kind of like, all right, then you could see his people winning. So even like Priest winning, it's like it's continuously built up. He's been in good spots. Like that Bad Bunny match, like that was a big factor, I'm sure, in him getting the Money in the Bank. And his work has just improved. But this moment, I don't know, Roman being pinned, that seemed a little iffy for me. So, but that's just me. And anyway, this is Wrestling Pops. Keeping it a little short and sweet this week. But happy 4th of July, happy birthday, America. Be safe, please. Even if you're seeing this after the 4th of July, please be safe the rest of the summer. Don't do anything you shouldn't do. Check out all past episodes, all future episodes here at this YouTube channel, the Deep Culture Podcast. Wrestling Pops, Spotify, Audible. Check out Comics and Kicks. Hey Dan, what's this? Check out Tanner's new NCAA football video. I think he's doing more of those in the future. Check out just any cool stuff you want to. Shout out. So that's all for me. I will see you next time. Thank you and be good.